Hey, this is Matt once again with about 10 other videos that are the paid requests. This time from James. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, PayPal is usually the best bet, or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this time we're talking about Breaking Bad, Season 2, Episode 11 and 12. Thanks, James. I really appreciate that. Because I have been really enjoying the show. It's my first time watching the show. I've liked what I've seen so far. Mainly because I like the main characters of Walt and Jesse. They're very interesting characters, well played by Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul. It's very intriguing to see what will happen next, what twists and turns will occur. And definitely a lot of stuff happens in these two episodes, near the end of this season, Season 2. Where in episode 11, I kind of figured this was going to happen. What I mean by that is there's set up where there's a dealer named Combo who works for Jesse, and he sees these other guys kind of staring at him. He's on the street, he's cautious, and there's a kid pedaling around on a bike, and he won't leave. Even the guy won't, get out of here, kid. Now, I've seen how this show can really twist things. For example, the bit with the ATM machine. I'll just put it that way. The turtle with a head on it, human head. The cleaning of the body with the bathtub and it goes through the floor. So because like all these things that I didn't see coming, now I'm a bit more cautious on things. Not cautious, but cautious in a good way. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. This kid's not leaving. There's something to this kid, right? And then lo and behold, the kid shoots him. I'm like, yep, I knew something was going to happen. I knew it. So I'm learning a bit. Sorry, show. I'm learning some of your tricks a bit. But it does make you for a more intriguing setup. But we never find out who that kid is. And I mean, obviously he did it, I guess, as a Dane initiation. But then we never see that kid again. But Jesse finds out his friend's been killed. The other guy, Skinny Pete, he decides to quit. And Jesse says, no, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Why do we have to go try to sell elsewhere? We should have stayed where we were at. And I just, Pete pretty much makes the right decision. Get the hell out of Dodge. So Jesse's trying to figure out what to do. Tossed to Walt, played by Bryan Cranston. Walt doesn't remember who that is, which pisses off Jesse. And you just see both of their... Like, with Walt, I could see him not knowing because he hasn't hung out with these guys. Or really been in that world of those cohorts of Jesse much. That I would not have remembered either. If you told me the name. Which one's Combo? I wouldn't know who that was. But you see why Jesse would be pissed, because it's one of his friends is like, you don't even care, dude. Which is true. I mean, Walt doesn't care. He cares about the money and his family. And as we go along, more of him loving this power trip, so to speak. To be feared and bring worth to something in his eyes. As in he's accomplishing something. He wasn't just a waste of space, if that makes sense. So Jesse and Walt argue. I do like when Jesse throws the damn glass right at the chalkboard, and like Taylor freaks out Walt, because usually Jesse's. It seems like Walt maybe could handle Jesse, but this is like maybe the first time like, wow, this guy's out of control. I don't know what I'm going to do about this guy. They talk to Saul, Bob Odenkirk's character, who's the lawyer, who's crooked, but is working with these guys. And honestly says, you guys suck, which is in a way true. But I'll tell this guy, and you have this much of product, try to sell that product. So they're supposed to go to this chicken restaurant and await further instructions. Meanwhile, Jesse is with his new girlfriend, Jane. And Jesse, you've seen throughout the show that he does have a heart to him. He does care. Like, he warns her, listen, you need to go. Get away from me, because I don't want you to relapse. I just, with my friend dying and all this other stuff, I know I'm not supposed to, but I need to do this. Please just leave. I don't want you to relapse. You're sober. Just please go. So he tells her to go. He's, I don't want to say he's being responsible because he's still doing meth and drugs, but he cares. It's about someone other than himself. But she closes and goes back to him. Now, I don't know if it's because she really does care for this guy, or because this is her kind of chance to try meth and give a good reason for her. I mean, I guess we're to assume that well, I don't know. Because later on, when she finds out the idea of money, she's very adamant about it. So it seems like she more cares about this than Jesse. But I don't know. At the same time, she does protect him about against her dad, played by John Delancey. So maybe it's a bit of both. But it's just that the more she does drugs, the more her mind shifts focus. Which sadly is something that does happen to a lot of drug addicts. So yeah, she decides to stay behind, and she relapses, and they start doing more drugs. So pretty much the deal is, and this is going from episode 11 to episode 12. No one's there at the restaurant, in terms of no one comes up to them. He's wondering what's going on. How come no one went to them? Walt goes back again. Finally talks to the guy. It's Giancarlo Esposito. I'm like, oh cool, I like this actor. He was in the TV show The Mandalorian, season 1. He was, I guess you say, the main bad guy in season 1, and a bit of season 2. Of course, I remember him as the video game player in Maximum Overdrive. He got fried by this video game machine. I don't say pinball. I don't think it was pinball. I forget what kind of machine it was, but he's like, wow, and just gets fried. I can't help it. I mean, I know he's done a lot of stuff, but he will always be the video game guy, the arcade guy in Maximum Overdrive, because that's one of my favorites. And he's very sophisticated, like Walt, and says, you're not a tearful person, because you're a drug addict. Why do you keep him? And Walt goes, because he'll do what I say. And Giancarlo says you can never trust a drug addict, which is true. The guy's got a point. I remember I heard this story. This is a tangent. There's a guy I watch on YouTube. He does video game live streams, called a guy named Megadan. Very, very nice guy. You know, I've commented on his live streams. He was very kind, courteous. He told a story about how his buddy, again, this is a long tangent, but why not? You know, just to have fun with the video. His buddy was clinically dead from like a drug overdose, to a point that when they brought him back, he had such damage that he had a conversation with the guy 5 times over the same thing. Because all of a sudden the guy would go, hey, Dan, how's it going? You know, I almost died? Yeah, because it was like Memento. So eventually the guy, because he was into drugs and stuff, he had like one of those ankle bracelets. He couldn't go anywhere. I guess they went to his place. His stuff was stolen. It's like, man, I'm going to have nothing to do. So Dan was a nice enough guy. He lended his PlayStation 1 collection of like 50 games. Like, listen, PS2 is out. I'm playing a lot more of that. Here's the PS1 stuff. You know, I'll come back for one day, but here you go. Oh, thanks, man. Sometime later, he goes back because he wants to get the stuff back. It's not there. It's gone. It's gone, McCready. So either this guy, even though he's home, someone somehow stole the stuff, or B, he sold it for more drugs. I'm going to choose the letter B, Mr. Pat Sajak. I choose B. And I'm like, yeah, with drug addicts, they'll lie, they'll cheat, they'll misconstrue. Oh, it's just, I'll make it up to you. Then they never do. So Esposito has a point. And there's a point where Walt does get a second chance, and it'll be a $1.2 million deal. So he's like, he needs to do this. But Jesse's so drugged up, he can't get up. He finds the drugs, and of course, at the same time, his wife is giving birth to their baby. And we gotta make a choice, which goes into episode 12. So again, the plot is developing in an intriguing way. There's a good cliffhanger. You pretty much know what Walt's going to do, but you're just ready to see that come to fruition. The visuals, there's a bit when Jesse is doing drugs, and we see a shot of him like this. He's on the bed, and he's like floating up, and he's going towards the camera. The camera's on the ceiling, a ceiling shot, and the guy's like going up, like he's floating in the air. Like, that was a cool visual. Nice to see Giancarlo Esposito there. Good actor. Brings a different vibe to compared to, was it Tuco? I'm bad with names. In the that we've seen previously on the show, where that guy was much more angry, volatile. This one's much more seemingly smarter but cold-blooded demeanor. Cold-blooded demeanor. So I did like that episode, and that goes to episode 12, where Jesse sees the drugs are missing, freaks out, calls Walt, what's going on? Later finds out what happened, goes to see Walt, and Walt is like, you're kidding, right? I'm not giving you your half. What? Well, because of you, number one, you don't... Actually, the first thing he says is, you don't use all that in a week, and you don't be dead from a drug overdose. But also, you screwed up, and I missed my daughter's birth because of you. Which is true. So I don't blame Walt. Be like, no, you're sorry ass. You don't get this. So inadvertently, Jesse tells his girlfriend, Grant, because he's drugged out, he lets it loose. Loose lips sink ships, as they say. So then she gets the idea to blackmail Walt. You don't give us that half of the money, or don't go to the cops. Jesse doesn't like that because he doesn't. For his code is, I don't turn anybody in. I don't talk. I never rat someone out. But she, in her relapse state, is now gonna know about this money, so she's not thinking straight. Meanwhile, John Delancey, Q from Star Trek Next Generation, he appears as the girl's dad. It was great to see. I liked him as an actor. He was in this film called Evolver in the 90s. He's been in a few other films, but I do like him. I thought he did a good job here. I get why he's so mad and pissed to see his daughter relapsed. I'm with him every step of the way. If it was my daughter, I want to beat the hell out of Jesse, out of Aaron Paul as well. So I can't blame him for that. Walt, I was surprised his wife isn't more pissed at him for missing the birth. Maybe that's something that will play into later on. But it seemed like he got off a bit easy as of now that he missed the birth of his daughter. I did like the bit that he shows the baby his wall of money going, Daddy did that for you. And then later on tossed to Saul, and Saul wants to take that money and put into the charity to money launder it successfully in the charity that his son thought up on the computer. And this is where you get more of an inclination of Walt's mindset. Because if it's just about the money and providing for his family, sure, that'd be a great idea. Why not? But instead, he says, well, how did he put it? But if I do it that way, it's not going to seem like I did it for them and I did it. Instead, we just got charity from people. So again, it's about him wanting to prove that he's, if he was a neuter man, that he got back his testicles. Or got back his machismo. Got back to his animal side. However you want to put it. And that's where you see this kind of slow evolution of who Walt is becoming. He's becoming. So Walt tries to talk to Jesse, saying how Jane is a bad influence. She tells him to piss up a rope. Walt is with John Delancey at the bar. To be fair, I mean, he's got his half of the money. He did what he set out to do. But lo and behold, John Delancey's there at the bar. Granted, one doesn't know the other. And Walt is talking about how there's this guy, my cousin, and going through all this and that. And John Delancey says, well, you can't give up on them. What else is there? So you're wondering if Walt is doing this because he cares in a way about Jesse, or is it because, no, I know this guy is loyal. I could trust him. I may not like him. He screws up a lot, but I can trust him because of his code, whatever you want to put it, how you want to put it. So he gets there and finds that Jane, which I will say this is definitely perfect timing, that as soon as he gets there, she starts convulsing and vomiting. And he thinks on helping, but he takes a step back, and then she drowns on her own vomit. And then Walt kind of looks at her, and he cries, but I think they're supposed to be tears of joy. Like, this problem's been fixed because no more blackmail. This bad influence is no longer going to be against Jesse. And, like, this relief. I will say the musical score was very good in that scene. Very subtle. It was very subtle. Very, like, soft, moody score that really added to the emotional level of that scene. And then just Walt's reaction where, in a way, I mean, he let the person die for his own, I mean, really at the end of the day, selfish reasons. I think that's what we construe it at the end of the day, is selfish reasons. He needs Jesse because Jesse's the guy that's going to be loyal to him, get this nuisance out of the way, who also tried to blackmail me, and then they'll move on. That type of thinking. So it definitely gets you intrigued to see what will happen next. What will the fallout be when Jesse finds his love dead? John Delancey will find this out, and all sorts of other stuff. So, definitely intriguing, to say the least. So thanks for watching. Take care. I enjoyed both these episodes. I thought there were definitely made you wonder what was going to happen next, which is what a show like this should do. Well acted. That's definitely the best part of it, is the acting. And overall, pretty good stuff. Thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.